All right, whenever.
Okay. Think about this morning. How long did it take for you guys to choose your clothes to wear to school? I bet most of us take a long time for us to get ready and choose our clothes that we're gonna wear to school the next day. Well, wouldn't it be easier if you already have like the same clothes every day to wear? In high school, we see some students getting in trouble because they're wearing short shorts and they're not following the school dress code. It would be easier if students had to wear uniforms. I remember when I was in kindergarten and in first grade, my school made students wear uniforms. With lots of research, I found that schools should require students to wear uniforms. Today, I want to illustrate for you why schools should require students to wear uniforms, how uniforms will improve student success, and how it will enforce discipline towards learning, and there will be less peer pressure. Students won't stress in the morning trying to choose which clothes to wear. If we all had uniforms, we wouldn't have to wake up that early to choose our clothes, and we will only have wearing the same type of clothes every day would be easier, and it will lessen snobbery and peer pressure in educational institutions, and it will also lessen incidents of bullying and theft. And since children would be wearing the same clothing, they won't worry about others judging them on their clothing, since they all have the same clothes, and students would feel equal, and it would be easier for school faculties to see which students belong to the school, since everyone would look the same. And wearing school uniforms, children would take school more seriously. According to articlebase.com, they point out that putting on a school uniform signals that he or she is going to school just like the parents dresses up to go to work. And enforcing uniforms will reduce gang violence. And Melissa Kelly quoted that school uniforms prevent gang colors in school. School uniforms diminish fighting and violence that occur out of arguments over fashionable clothes. Okay, some parents think that they'll end up paying more money if they buy school uniforms, but they end up saving more money. Because school uniforms are cost efficient, and parents and students doesn't have to go shopping for their children's clothes before the beginning of each school year. By having uniforms, there will be less distractions in class, and by removing distracting clothing, test scores would improve greatly, and it would also help students by clarifying to teachers on the students that need more help. So, in conclusion, I showed you how uniforms will improve student success, how it will enforce discipline towards learning, and there will be less peer pressure. In our future jobs, most of us are going to need to start wearing uniforms, so why not start wearing uniforms in an early age?
So, Balt, what did you think?
Well, first, the introduction about dressing up in the morning. So sometimes I take a while, sometimes I don't. So maybe a better structure would be better. But I liked it. And a uniform is helpful because in the Philippines I wore uniforms for 8 years, and it's just easy. Wake up in the morning, you don't have to, like you said, to struggle, and you just wear the same damn thing. But it's true that it counts with gang violence. I like those information that you gave us. And then you were looking at your paper a lot, and you were reading, and for some reason you were laughing. I don't know why. But the information, the whole thing is just obviously true, and it's informative. And I like it. I like the speech. And maybe next time you could talk more to us instead of just reading it.
Okay. Let me start with a couple of things that I think were pretty good. You've got a clear statement of your purpose, and you've got a very good structure that you lay out for us, and you stick to that structure during the speech, so it's very well organized and easy to follow. I think you do an okay job on that. The presentation of that structure is problematic sometimes because you just move from point to point. There's not a pause. There's not any indication that we're making a transition here. It just feels like you were reading, as like Balt was saying, and I think that that's a problem. So you need to work on your delivery to make that organization work a little bit more for you. There's some information on the supporting points, but I don't think there's as much information as you need to prove your points. You've got a whole bunch of claims that you start off with early that are, they seem like they're reasonable inferences, but do we have any experience with this? Are there authorities who have researched this? You have one authority that you cite that talks about the impact that it might have on violence and some other issues, but all they do is they say that, and we don't even know how authoritative that person's opinion is, what it's based on. I thought it seemed very conclusionary, and so I think you need better information to make the argument a lot stronger. It meets the minimum requirements, but it doesn't really sell the argument very well. The opening rhetorical question's okay, but he's absolutely right. You are reading way too much. Your eye contact is very low at this point. You've got the script in your hand. You're very dependent on the notes. So all of the delivery things are undermining the work that you've got in the speech. Now, the speech is under 5 minutes, so there's a lot of material that could be added to the presentation, and you need to talk to us and make the argument. Get the pages out of your hand, look at us, and just tell us what you think about those things. Like I said before, the only thing that you ought to have on note cards would be the quotes or the statistics, which nobody expects you to memorize. Everything else, maybe the main points that you listed, if you couldn't remember those for some reason, that would be added to it as well. But otherwise, you should just be talking to us at this point, and it feels like this is something that's been prepared. You're reading it to us. Obviously, you prepared it, but you haven't practiced it. You don't know it. You're not delivering it to us and building the credibility that you need to do. All right. Thank you.